we are.
Can you hear us, Tiffany?
Tiffany, can you hear us?
Maybe she stepped in.
All right, well, I came through on my speaker. Good
Oh, I
work.
can hear you. I can hear you now. It's Tiff. I can hear you now.
Right. Okay, welcome everyone to the December meeting of the Minuteman Community Board Bond Executive Committee. I'm Brad Sherburne, the chair. So we have a relatively short agenda tonight. So in advance, everyone was distributed a copy of the agenda and the resolutions. So we'll just get started right away there. Starting, Karen, congratulations.
All right, thank you, Brett. And this resolution, so looking, Brett?
Gonna do that here.
Okay.
Just the full board.
Okay, all right, cool. So today we have another resolution courtesy of Erickson TDC for Lexington Avenue pedestrian safety improvements. They're working with DOT and DEP. The project area is Lexington Avenue from 41st to 49th Streets. Part of greater East Midtown rezoning. There's several pedestrian improvements here, including 7th permanent curb and sidewalk extensions, pedestrian ramp improvements, safety improvements, as well as water main replacements and upgrades. We generally are in favor of this. And we support the DDC's Lexington Avenue pedestrian safety project to enhance pedestrian safety and upgrade its aging infrastructure. And we've made the following requests. DDC and the design build team ensure that all construction trailers and storage areas are illuminated via hardwired electric lighting. They coordinate with the timeline of the 43rd Street Shared Street project to minimize conflicting construction schedules and disruption of the community. And DDC actively pursue coordination with Metro Board to facilitate future improvements on the west side of Lexington Avenue for a comprehensive streetscape upgrades rather than interventions. And the committee unanimously voted in favor of this resolution.
Any conflicts? Any questions? Any comments?
What's really the name of this organization?
That's the project.
Okay, okay. The mouthful.
Great, thank you. All right, next landmarks, Kevin, you're up.
Okay, we only have one this month. It was 111 West 57th Street. You all have seen this building for sure. It's one of the pencil thin towers on the base of Central Park. It's the one that's kind of gently sloped towards the top. Some people refer to it as the Steinway Tower. I didn't know it was referred to that, but apparently it is. And the reason is because the original Steinway building, which sits at its base, is a 16-story original building. It's still there. They preserved it. And the open air lobby to that building effectively is an interior landmark. It was landmark because it's part of the Steinway and Sons originally, who made pianos, sold them back in the 1920s. That interior open air space was landmarked in 2013. It is now owned by Bonhams, the large auction house, and they are going to use some of the back offices of the Steinway building, the original building, for auction purposes, but they want to use the open air lobby area, the landmark part, to display some of the items that are going to be auctioned off. So the changes they want to make are, there is this giant glass vitrine, which is a new word for me. It's basically a giant curved thing up against the window. Did you know what a vitrine was, Brett? Of course you did. And they want to remove that, which is fine. And then they also want to add some modular glass display cases, which will house some things that are going to be auctioned off. It was a super simple resolution, passed unanimously. Main benefit of it was that I didn't even know the space was there. As an interior landmark, it is open to the public, so that's because I want to go.
Okay, thank you. Conflicts? Questions? Comments?
Why
Nancy,
are we still making pianos that make them excellent?
you know where?
So they have a historic manufacturing facility in Esterly. maybe you should. you
We'll
can look
find
it
out.
up.
Yeah. Add that color to your
Don't say that
presentation.
they're not paying for it, it's not like-
Yeah.
But get that
It was
right.
super simple, but there's lots of fun facts in this.
All right, thank you, Kevin. All right, next up, Nancy.
Okay, so we had four items, but we had five results. As you should say, so, the first one was a hotel conversion into affordable and supportive housing. By breaking ground, our reso is unanimous. The second one is PDC review of 3 POPs that's been, in a new building at 42nd Street and Lexington Avenue. We had 11 yes to deny it and, 1 no to deny it. We're asking again for bathrooms. And then there were 2 permit renewals. 1 permit renewal was for residential building, on 16th Street. And, then there was a permit renewal for 2 open air cafe units. Both of those were unanimous. They were both, one was an approval and one was a denial. I need to give you more information than that. It's the information's in the packet. I'm trying to do short today.
Let's find out. Any conflicts?
Oh, and I'm sorry, and there was one letter
Oh, okay.
that was unanimous that we are writing to our city council members on behalf of the 42nd Street and Lex, 175 Parksville, to consider bathrooms. And that was unanimous for sending that letter.
Great. Thank you. Conflicts? Questions to any of the resolutions? Comment? You got it. Nancy. All right, everything left after this is parks. Libby, I know, is on her way, so while we wait for her to arrive, I do have an item for new business, so you all will see a bunch of district items for distribution on the table today. So this morning, Marisa, Libby and I had a call with regarding the upcoming Bryant Park Corporation meeting with members of the New York Public Library. And so they were letting us know that as part of that meeting, there will be proposed bylaw amendments to the Bryant Park Corporation, which are what's on the table right there. So should be 2 amendments. And did you print the actual bylaws themselves? Marisa?
So, there is a big pile,
You got all 3?
there's a big pile, here. That has the original bylaws, the revisions in 2012, and then here are potential,
Potential amendments, yeah. So this is for,
I can send those to you separately.
so these documents, relate to Bryant Park Corporation, which is the entity that manages the park itself. And so these amendments are, I will describe them as good governance amendments. They relate to whistleblower policy and how those are handled and a conflict of interest policy. There will be a vote on these next week. We, as a member of that board, get a vote. So I wanted to talk this through with you because this is, I know we've talked a lot about Bryant Park in the past. I don't believe this has to go to the full board for discussion, based on the way that our bylaws are framed. But I just wanted to sort of make everyone aware of that, sort of make sure that we're all on the same page. I'll leave it there. Nancy.
What is the impetus for adding these 2
So
provisions?
the Bryant Park Corporation engaged a consultant. I don't know when that began, but it was like within the past year or so, who essentially reviewed their bylaws for them. I believe at the behest of the representatives of the New York Public Library who were on the board. But I'm not certain about that.
The consultant's purpose was
To review the bylaws.
for legality, for governance, for fairness or
Yes.
all those things?
So part of their termination was that these two changes should be made to enhance the bylaws and also to bring them in line with law so that they're, fully compliant.
Was there anything screwy, cover going on or anything like that?
Nothing explicit of that, that we're aware of. It's just, I think, like I said, a good governance approach for this. Samir.
Are we expecting them to have like another round of bylaw changes, or is it just?
Not that I'm aware of. Marisa, I don't think that your understanding based on the call this morning,
Is that these are the bylaws changes that they're requesting.
it seems like they have not been updated since 2012.
Right, it's not, they're not doing it in stages.
Oh.
Any other questions?
Was there any discussion around, and I'm just reflecting back on, I'm trying to remember, we had a joint meeting with Landmarks and Park, and we were looking at, was
there-
it the master plan or?
Yeah, was there, 10-year master plan?
Yeah, and I remember a variety of things coming out of that. That was a long resolution, if I recall. Was there any discussion around like transparency metrics, any of that stuff that you were aware of? Because I feel like that was a really hot topic in our joint meeting. So I'm wondering if anything came out of that.
So I will say that this specifically does not do anything for that. But and this also ties into, in addition to that resolution, we had the September letter that came out of Parks that dealt with the number of activations and the commercialization, the commercial nature of some of those activations. In my own personal opinion, I think some of this is downstream of that. So I think that we are, this is maybe the beginning of a process to have conversations about that, but this isn't by any means, this doesn't address that explicitly, if that makes sense.
Okay, understood.
In addition to sort of making you all aware of this, I think we are going to try to draft. There was a request for us this morning to draft a statement to read into the record at that meeting. I believe most of that is covered in these prior resolutions, that joint letter, as well as the one that we issued in September. We can talk about sort of our aspirations for Bryant Park, and how that relates to sort of what you see here. So I think that would be drafted, but again, I don't think that is, as we write that, we're not going back to the full board, because we're going to try and rely on sort of positions and sort of discussions that have already taken place. So there's no vote on this. There's no kind of nothing more. Libby was on that call this morning, so we jumped to the Bryant Park.
Yeah, I really was like, oh, I thought you were gonna do the other stuff before we got into this. Thought you knew I had to.
Yeah, the rest of the meeting is all you, so,
Great.
so,
It did tell Josh.
are there any other questions? Comments? Okay. All right. So then now we'll circle back to you, Libby, if you want to start with the Porcelanosa and do the rest.
Yes, okay, so the Porcelanosa is the third consecutive year that Porcelanosa, which is a neighbor in Madison Square Park, has done a holiday event. It is the fourth and final marketing activation that is allowed for Madison Square Park under their agreement with the city, their sole source agreement. It's a similar setup as last year, where it is a holiday gift. But this year they've added 2 additional sort of outpost sheds to protect they're adding live music. And they're protecting the instruments because of inclement weather. There were some issues last year. Just a walk through, it's pretty small. And they've been good neighbors, and it's nice that they are, even though they're a national brand, they're local to the physical space, to Madison Square Park itself. And we would have voted in favor of it, but we voted, I think, 8-10.
Was the advisory vote unanimous?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't remember the exact number that we had because the votes got
It's all right.
early at the end.
Unanimous, that's-
Yeah, so that was, there was not a lot, that was very non-controversial.
So are there any conflicts? Any questions? Any comments? Okay, let's take this to a vote.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Just to clarify, with David Sigmund absent, can we just?
So David Sigmund's absent, so he won't be voting, but Kieran is.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, see Melissa Stewart has joined us. Some of you may know, but maybe not everyone. Melissa has accepted the role as the vice chair of the City Services and Quality of Life Committee. So I'm very happy to announce that and very pleased to have her with us.
Yay.
Thanks. I wish it was there in person, or not on my phone, but thanks. To be here.
Okay, great. So Kieran and Melissa can both.
Okay,
vote.
yeah, just wanted to confirm that.
Great, yeah.
Okay, right, let's start from the top, Gordon,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
Frizz,
Yes.
Joshua.
Yes.
Yes.
Olivia. Yes, sorry, I think we have Nicole. What?
Yes.
Leontovich, yes. Rebel,
Tiffany?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Burn.
Yeah.
Fondon,
Yes.
and now we're gonna just take it to our subs, Kieran Patel. And Melissa Stewart.
Yes.
Okay, so we have, I didn't count them all, but we have, I think the motion passed.
Great, thank you. Okay, rest of yours now, Olivia.
Okay, so next up, we have the concession agreement for the restaurant that is in Union Square Park. This is that North Pavilion. We heard the RFP in June, I think, of July of 2024. They've come back, they've selected an operator, and the operator was there at the meeting to answer our questions. It's a 15-year agreement. It is a year-round operation, which is different from what is happening now. It also includes the kiosk to the south. It's the two of them, but right now the third one is already operated and already occupied. But this includes that newsstand that's been closed for 8 years. And by having them together, it gets around some of the operational issues. So that is exciting. People are excited about that. It's coming in. So the license agreement, just numbers wise, it starts at 150,000 or it'll be 6%, depending on revenues. And the operator is already a partner with other parks, like Heron Park and out in the Rockaways. So he's got experience. And probably the most exciting thing to this board is he agreed to signage to say that the bathrooms are available for people to use. And also that the public space, the seating, you do not have to buy anything to sit there. And that'll be very clearly marked, and he will put up a sign. And that was delightful. And he said yes, and it was very simple, which was lovely. And it was a very thorough conversation about that, and he'll have his number available. They're going to do some community events as the restaurant. So that'll be sort of above and beyond what, whether it's the partnership or sole source or the parks department, all of that stuff. But the model of the restaurant also has sort of a community-based idea. And then anytime they're going to change the menu, they had a sample menu, but anytime they're going to change the menu, it was pretty affordable. They have to get it approved through the parks department, and we just asked them to give us a heads up. So that we also know that it'll be affordable, but we thought that the signage piece of it and the bathrooms would be very exciting for the board. But those are most of the top lines there. And then,
Go through all.
okay, so the next one is the controversial one also. Oh yeah, okay. The next one is in the packet is the controversial one. And this is the Facebook marketing activation. So this was not coming through Union Square partnership. This is just Facebook wanting to do an activation in a park, which is a permittable space. Anyone can do that. You can also do that in any sort of Madison Square Park that has a limit, as the Conservancy has a limit. You could still do an additional event if you pay the fee. That is always available. People just tend not to. That is all set and codified by the city. It exists for the amount of space that you're using, how big your footprint is, how long your setup is, all of that stuff. That is established, that's fixed. Members of the committee felt that permitting fee, in light of the fact that it's a multinational corporation, was not a sufficient amount of money, given the feeling that it's purely branding exercise. It's an Airstream trailer that is fully painted in Facebook stuff. They're gonna have some influencers, photographers can get like a new profile picture taken. It's like a photo studio, like advertising, marketplace, other things that are part of the Facebook brand. The layout that you can see here is how they're managing the queuing, and overall it is a fairly small footprint compared to the size of the North Plaza. It's gonna happen on a Sunday because it can't happen during the farmers market. But this got very controversial on the committee. There was actually a vote to deny. It was introduced as a motion to deny fully. That motion failed. Well, the motion didn't fail, the resolution,
Motion.
the vote failed.
The motion
Okay.
failed.
Yeah, and so then was reintroduced as an approval. But there was a feeling that as far as like time, place, manner considerations, though they had been, very forthcoming and appreciative, that because of the parent company's sort of values, related to sort of civic space, that Union Square specifically as a protest area, was sort of in direct conflict with the values of that brand. We decided to have a larger conversation about branding and commercialization. Stay tuned for future things on that. But ultimately did vote to approve. And they're doing some local stuff, but we wanted them to do more local stuff. Did vote to approve, but it was hard to get to consensus. So we did not actually get consensus on this one. And it was three people voted against. Yeah, that's not, the number in here is not right. There were 3 people who voted against this, but that's sort of how that went from a controversial. You can also see the size of the footprint, and it's sort of in line with other stuff. The next one is just the art installation at Union Square Pavilion. We already saw this. This was just an update on the timing of it and a little bit more detail in the design, and activating space, because there is not currently a restaurant in there because it's only a 6-month agreement. That was fine. That was unanimous. And then we came back to marketing again, ongoing conversation, and this is for Google Gemini at the Chalet at Bryant Park Winter Village. They're doing a buyout. This is a pre-existing restaurant. They're buying it out for the week. And so they are then also partnering to provide any food, they're partnering with local partners and local restaurants to do that in addition to their fee. They are making a very, very, very significant donation for the use of the space. And it is like branding, but there is a little bit more of an activity and involvement around it. And ultimately we did vote in favor of it because it is within that sort of pre-existing footprint and the donation, but we did have 2 voting against. And then our final activation was also at the Winter Village in the lodge area, which is connected to this, but this is not the full Stella bar. And it's for Stella. The committee has historically felt conflicted about free alcohol giveaways. There's a component of this that involves free alcohol being given away. It's a ticket to get alcohol. It's not introducing new alcohol. It's already pre-existing in the bar. It's just offering it for free. There's only 50 of them. And then you can also get like a gift for 4 hours of a holiday chalice that you can advertise as a brand, obviously, and engrave as a gift. So this was a little bit more controversial as well. But ultimately did pass with one opposing.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so it was not a unanimous series of of votes there, but we made it through.
Any conflicts? Any questions to any of the resolutions? Sooner.
Yeah, for the Union Square one on line 636.
Which Union Square one? There were three.
Sorry, line 636. I don't remember which one that is, but it's.
What topic?
I don't remember, but the lines are for the entire thing. So you should be able to find it. So for 636, it says, whereas Community Board 5 continues to have compliance and operational concerns. What are the specific compliance and operational concerns?
This was, I think, mostly referring to just in general, making sure that the park was being maintained in a good manner. There were some requests for general like data around maintenance stuff, but that got softened. The concerns were really mostly just related to some of the more like public facing elements. You can see the bathroom thing above that. That was what was voted on at the committee, therefore it is in here. But the general operational and compliance concerns was not related to as much of this, but it was more of like wanting to have stuff baked in early on to be aware going forward.
Yeah, I guess.
That is where I thought that was related to.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess my comment would be, if it's so vague, what are they supposed to be aware of? So like, can we make it so it's a little bit more specific on what the compliance and operational concerns are, so they know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the related to the whereas that's like right above it.
Okay, in that case, can we just delete line 636?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Marisa, did that address your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just assumed those two whereases after the first one was referring to the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Is that?
I think it was that there was it got a little vague in general. I mean, that's what it was connected to because it goes in from like sanitation, sanitation, bathroom, things like it's just general, but they're not responsible for that themselves. They did agree to also help make sure that this thing that they are not directly responsible for is also good. But if we want to take out a line to make it shorter, I'm happy to appease the masses and make it shorter.
Great.
So.
Yep.
Strike line 636.
Yeah, sorry, before I go to you, do
We're
you
at
have other
Community
things
Board
in here?
5, needs to have compliance and operational issues, but keep the whereas below that.
I think we can, if Libby's okay with that, we can strike that one too, because we already are like communicating the concerns above for the specific items.
I think that, do you want to, can we combine them?
Okay,
To make it like-
let me propose some language. So we could change it to get rid of 636 and change 638 to whereas Community Board 5 has park maintenance concerns and high expectations for corrective action and has let those be known to the Parks Department and the licensee. Is that reasonable?
Well, I think the high expectations is more of the sort of the point of the meeting was to sort of be like, here are the things that we would like to see. We hope you'll do these things that we would like. And they were like, yes. So the high expectations piece of it is sort of key.
Right, but it's high expectations for corrective action of compliance and operational concerns, and we don't know what those are specifically. So how are they going to?
About the bathrooms.
Okay, so if it's about the bathrooms, then we can just say, whereas Community Board 5 has communicated operational concerns about the bathrooms and our high expectations for corrective action have been reported to the Parks Department and the licensee or something like that.
Is that consistent with the committee discussion?
I would have to go back to the transcript to see exactly which this was pulling for, because I read this whole thing as like, this is just softened from. So when you do park maintenance, you like, there's like a checklist and there's a whole thing. It's actually part of the licensing agreement with like Madison Square Park. But that is like, was a longer part of the conversation. I'd have to go exactly to the transcript to see what beyond it refers to, but I think like there was concern about it. If you want to just combine the two sentences.
Yeah, my issue is that it's very vague, and I don't know how combining the two sentences makes it less vague. Because we'd have,
Well, would you want to combine it with 634?
sure, I think that could work. So let's see, 631 is whereas the Parks Department has acknowledged past maintenance challenges with just public restrooms and has a plan to rule blah, to public chat around. And we have communicated these concerns and its high expectations for corrective action. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so we can,
Just combine the three whereases into one.
yeah,
635 through 637, and then
Just delete the spaces,
and then put the
basically.
whereas, get rid of the whereas in front and basically just add 638 and 639
Yeah.
to the back
Just
end
have
of
a-
634.
Just have, make it a paragraph instead of a single
I
thought.
think that's great.
Just one.
It's not. Different resolution writing guide, but
Is that language clear to you, Marisa?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll send.
all right.
yeah, to make sure that it,
Any other questions? Nick?
No.
Okay, yo,
Yeah, I had a question about the 15-year concession to Union Square Park House. It was interesting seeing the numbers, what the city will receive. And I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So is this essentially like the rent that they will receive for the year, about 12,500 a month? A minimum?
if that's what it works out to.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
the
so,
lowest, and then.
so
after
that's
fif-
what's guaranteed. So it gets a little bit more confusing with the sole source agreement. There is a percentage of this that if the sole source goes through, Union Square Partnership would then get some of, that is still a negotiation if it's going through hypothetical. Forget that for a minute. Yes, the city will receive at a minimum per year that $150,000. And then, or 6% of their gross rep, like whichever,
Yeah,
but like
whichever is
beyond
greater,
that, yeah, they do the math.
Okay, and how does that compare to the last lease?
We did not do math on that
I'm
in general. It's
just
also, I mean, it's more because it was only a 6-month lease, so this is a 12-year. 12-month. Time is hard. 12-month lease overall. But they're also then doing a bunch of upkeep and improvements to the physical structures. They're gonna add, which will also come through landmarks because of the landmark pavilion. They're gonna add glass. And they're also gonna have to do, in order for that kiosk I talked about, they're gonna have to do, this didn't come up at the meeting, but in prior conversations I've had, they have to have it be, I guess, like plumbed is the right word. They need to connect it to water. In order for it to make it work, which is why it's been empty for 8 years.
Okay, it
Plus,
was just interesting seeing that number. Seems like pretty
low or
rent.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the expectation is that probably the 6% is going to be the number,
Greater,
but you
yeah.
also, you want to make sure that it's going in a certain way. And then the upfront money to the physical structure is going to be pretty high. I think it's like $1 million to connect the water for that kiosk. Like it's not inexpensive to the point where it was, and there's 2 different options for how it might be done. They don't know which one they're gonna do yet, but they have committed to doing it. So that's sort of the background. It didn't come up at the meeting, but that was part of,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Kiosk.
so on 15th Street, that's empty.
My question was this, these terms, high expectations. Are we asking for something beyond their compliance with the requirements of their lease? Because high expectations leads me to believe we're asking for something more than we're entitled to ask for.
I think the idea, knowing the sort of the origin of that language and like who it was introduced by, I think it's more about just, it will be done to the, very well, as opposed to, technically compliant, but not great. Does that make sense? Like it'll be,
Well, the term bothers me because it just sounds like. I
just knowing the person who it originated from, that is normally how it comes up is, a fine example of a great steward of a partner in the parks.
that answer your question, Nancy? Any other questions?
Come up in like other maintenance things for the park in general.
Karen?
Hey, Lee, with respect to the Facebook reso, so you were saying that 9-2 vote was not accurate. Were you saying it was 8-3?
It was definitely 3. I need to go back and actually check that.
We'll correct all.
What's changed? It-
It did actually come very, very close. to that denial. I actually thought that the denial was going to pass.
See, that actually, that was my next question, the motion to deny. Do you recall what that breakdown was?
That one, it was either 3 or 4. I think we ended up with only 3, but the conversation that led to it, it seemed like it was going to narrowly pass.
Thank you.
Any other questions? See Charles Nye, your hand is up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was wondering about just my comment is about the resolution about the Pavilion restaurant. I was concerned that when I asked a question to the vendor about community activities being accessible to people with disabilities, the vendor only said that they have an elevator in that space. Just wondering if there's any way, sorry, I'm a constituent of the district, just letting you guys know, with a disability. I was just wondering if there's a way to have any language that just to encourage or to try to emphasize that, you know, especially being a park, that the community activities should be accessible to people with all different types of disabilities to be able to participate, just like people with no disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Any answer?
Yeah, go for it.
I think the restaurant, this did come up in the meeting. There were members of the public, multiple members of the public who attended. And I believe the constituent is talking about the sort of like the yoga and the coffee hour. There was presented on like several sort of community-based things that they've done in other venues and other parks. And this did come up, and he said that he was going to try to make it as inclusive as possible. There was no like specific commitment to exact specifics, but the exact calendar of those events also have not been fully like solidified, because he again needs to get water in and do a bunch of construction and all of that stuff too. So the programming is a little bit farther down the line, but it was the concept.
Any other questions? Okay, comments? Okay. All right, I think that is it. So that is all on our agenda for tonight, except for new business. Any other new business? All right, great. Thank you, everyone. See you Thursday.